Good morning, children. Welcome to the biology classroom of Standard 6. Our topic for today is the respiratory system in humans. Before we move on to the explanation session, let's quickly go through the learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand the process of respiration, describe the location, structure, and function of the organs related to respiration. You'll be able to understand the functions and importance of the different organs of respiration, and also you'll be able to differentiate between breathing and respiration. All living organisms need energy for various physical and metabolic activities. This energy comes from food. The glucose in the absorbed food combines with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This process is known as respiration. The body gets enough oxygen through breathing. The process of taking in oxygen while breathing is called inhalation, and the process of giving out carbon dioxide during breathing is called exhalation. The oxygen is used by our cells to break down glucose and release energy in the process of respiration. Parts of the respiratory system. The path through which the air travels to the lungs and back to the atmosphere is called the respiratory tract. It comprises of nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and lungs. Nose and pharynx. We breathe in air through the nose or the nasal cavity. The nasal cavity has nasal hairs and mucus. The nasal hairs trap dust particles and germs from the inhaled air, and the mucus moistens the inhaled air. The blood capillaries present in the nose warm the inhaled air. The air through the nasal cavity passes to the pharynx. Pharynx is a funnel-shaped muscular structure that extends from the nasal cavity to the esophagus and larynx. Pharynx is a common passage for food through mouth and air from the nose. The lower portion of the pharynx leads to the larynx. Larynx is also known as the voice box. It has folds of tissues called vocal cords that vibrate with the passage of air and produce sound. If the food particles accidentally enter the larynx while eating, we tend to cough. Epiglottis is a leaf-like structure present above the larynx that acts as a lid during swallowing of food. It prevents the food from entering the trachea or the windpipe. Trachea. Trachea is a tube-like structure of about 10 to 12 cm long and 2 cm wide. It lies just below the larynx. The trachea at its lower end divides into inverted Y-shaped structure consisting of two tubes called bronchi. The bronchi enter the left and right lungs and then further divide into tiny branch-like structures called bronchioles. The bronchioles further branch off into tiny structures called alveoli that appears as a bunch of grapes. Lungs are present in pair and are situated inside our chest cavity that is protected by the rib cage. They are supported by the dome-shaped sheet of muscles called diaphragm that is present beneath the lungs. The diaphragm separates the chest cavity and the abdominal cavity. The left lung is two-lobed while the right lung is three-lobed. Each lung is a spongy bag-like structure covered by pleural membrane. In between the two pleural membranes, there is a fluid called pleural fluid. Alveoli are tiny air sacs or alveolar sacs present inside the lungs at the end of the bronchioles. There are millions of alveoli in each lung. The thin walls of the alveoli are richly supplied with blood capillaries that help in diffusion of gases. The oxygen that is absorbed during inhalation combines with the hemoglobin of the blood and forms oxyhemoglobin. The oxyhemoglobin is transported to all the cells of the body through blood. The oxygen is absorbed in the cells and breaks down the glucose from the food into carbon dioxide and water. This process of oxidation of food is called cellular respiration and releases energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate or ATP. Carbon dioxide rich blood is transported from all the body parts to the lungs. The blood rich in carbon dioxide leaves the cells and reaches the alveoli, where carbon dioxide gas is released and then exhaled out through the nose. Let's do a quick recap. Let's try and name the following: a muscular sheet below the lungs, tube through which air passes to and from the lungs, organ which is also known as the voice box, the air sacs at the end of the bronchioles, the process of taking in oxygen during breathing, the organ through which air enters the body. Here is the answer key. A muscular sheet below the lungs is diaphragm, tube through which air passes to and from the lungs, trachea, organ which is also known as the voice box is larynx, the air sacs at the end of the bronchioles, alveoli, the process of taking in oxygen during breathing is inhalation, the organ through which air enters the body is nose or nasal cavity. We hope you enjoyed this online session as much as we enjoyed making it for you. A written assignment or worksheet for this lesson will be uploaded. You may do the assignment in any notebook, project sheet, or fullscape paper. Thank you, children, for your uninterrupted attention. Have a nice day.